Well, here's a triggering comment. While we all agree that a narcissist is to blame for their abusive actions, at what point do we start to blame the victim for continually going back? Answer: never. People always say things like, well, the victim should know better. How? How should they know better? This whole idea of they should have known better. Let's say they don't know better. So what does that mean? They deserve the abuse? The fact is, it's really not about knowing better. Everybody's an expert, right? Big Will the expert. It blows my mind how many people want to speak on subjects they don't know anything about. Let's talk about exactly what this guy wants to talk about. Let's talk about the victims who choose to go back after they've already escaped, because he clarified in the comments that's who he's talking about. When you leave a narcissist or escape one, they usually call you 5,000 times. A narcissist will show up to your work. They'll call your mother. They'll stalk you. If you don't answer their calls, they'll make fake numbers and call you from those. Change your number. They'll email you. They'll email you from a million different accounts. They'll hit you up on Snapchat, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. They'll send you $1 on Venmo just to leave a message. Just ignore them and eventually they'll stop. I have clients that have been relentlessly stalked and obsessed over for years after they ended the relationship. Call the police, right? That's what you were going to say next? So you've never called the police on an abuser then? You haven't learned yet that the police almost never do anything? A trauma bond is also a huge reason why victims often go back after they've already left. So a trauma bond is an emotional attachment that exists in a relationship where there's positive reinforcement mixed with abuse. It's referred to as a psychological phenomenon. This is where you feel like you're addicted to your abuser. Your abuser becomes both the knife and the Band-Aid. A lot of victims feel an immense amount of shame for staying. And then these same victims have to go on the internet and hear from Big Will and listen to his inexperienced, uneducated, clueless opinion that no one asked for. And they're made to feel even worse about staying or going back. It takes a real lack of empathy to not understand the basics of what an abusive relationship actually is. Lack of empathy. Where do I know that character trait from? Society normalizes toxic and abusive relationships. Women in particular are groomed from children to be more forgiving, more compassionate, more empathetic. Leaving is not easy, and not going back after you've left is also not easy. I don't talk about astrophysics. Do you know why? I don't know the first thing about it. So if you don't understand abusive relationships, ask questions from a place of curiosity, not judgment.